Ladies and gentlemen, what's happening? We are going to be getting into some questions regarding the creator economy. And the question is it alive and well, or is it time to put this bad boy to rest? Let's find out. Hey everybody, Gordie Tamayo here, jumping in with you because we want to talk about something that's making the world go around, and it's been making it go around for quite a while. We're talking about the creator economy, people that are in all sorts of areas within the creative space. Photographers, videographers, web designers, content writers, etc. The list goes on. And so I got a guest coming on board with me, my boy, Thomas Williams. And we're going to bring him on board to talk about the creator economy, talk about some nuances within it, give you some inspiration for those that are in this particular space already, or maybe you're just considering it. And want to give you some insightful tips, some insightful stats on what's going on right now as we head into 2023. Can you believe it? It's already going to be the new year. So, without further ado, give it up for my boy, Mr. Thomas Williams.
What's going on, Gordie?
What's up, brother?
You know,
How's it going, bro?
living life, man, living the dream, trying to make it happen. How you been?
I'm doing good. Life is so good over here. We're stoked to have you on board, so thank you for taking the time to jump in here and just talk shop with us a little bit. It's good to see your face again, bro.
Yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. I put my makeup on today, you know.
That light hitting it good. Got the right lighting, got the right mic.
Absolutely.
You must be polished in this arena.
Yeah, you know, sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, again, this is my guest here, Thomas Williams. He's based out of Colorado Springs. He's the head of Innovative Productions, and I want to get into a little bit about what exactly he does. He's already busting out the swag. You can go ahead and put the plug there.
Yeah.
And I want to give you an opportunity, bro, to talk to folks and listeners about the creator economy. And for those that don't know exactly what that is, what it means, how it impacts them, etc., we're going to jump into that as well. But I want to introduce you first and just ask you to give the audiences a little bit of a rundown with what is it you do with Innovative Productions.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first off, thank you for having me on. I do content creation, videography, and photography. So whether you're needing photos for marketing, you're needing video for marketing, you might just have, I just did a Sweet 16 party, so it might just be some personal video use. So whatever you need within that creative space of video, photography, and content creation, Innovative Productions will help you realize your dream and make it happen.
That's what's up. And that ain't easy to do. I mean, you're talking about capturing a Sweet 16, right? Like, you don't get a redo. There's no retake.
No retakes there, man. You know, there's a lot of people that I meet that do one or the other, photography or videography, but I don't meet a lot of people that do both at a high level.
Yeah.
You know, they may know a little bit about one or the other, but they primarily focus on just one of those spaces. And I like to focus on both of them. And like you said, when you have live events like that, there's no redo, you know what I'm saying? So you have to make sure that you're on your A game.
Yeah, no doubt. You know, it's interesting because photography and videography, they do play hand in hand together, but you're right. You don't see all too often many people who have a mastery of both. And when you can interweave the both, man, you can come up with some pretty cool content and really help customers in a way that they wouldn't have been able to even imagine before.
You know, I'm not saying I'm a master of either, but, you know, I feel like I do a real good job at both of them. I actually like videography more than photography, but these days I'm doing more photography than videography. Yeah. So I like to make sure that, you know, I'm up on both spaces and you know, keep my skills tight.
Yeah. No, I think, you know, me and you are in a similar space when it comes to that. I do prefer, I do get more enjoyment perhaps out of videography. I think from a creative standpoint, it's just pretty cool how you can start to tell a story with videography, between the music, right, animated graphics, the way you cut the film, etc. It's pretty cool how you can tell a story with it that just a little different than how you do it with photos.
And you know what's funny is because, you know, me and you are similar because we both have music backgrounds too. And a lot of people that I run into that do music prefer video over photography because, like you said, you tell a story through music, you tell a story through video. So I think for me, I just connected more to it. So
yeah. Well, hey, I do know you're coming up on the 1 year anniversary, if you would, 1 year birthday of some twins that you welcomed into the planet. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, props to you again.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Daddy.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I know it's been a big year for you. It's been a huge year with some changes, with welcoming new babies into the planet,
Yeah.
with departing from corporate America and jumping into the entrepreneurial sector. That's a
Yeah.
pretty big leap, if you would. I want to talk to you about that for others that maybe have experienced it. We're going through it because let's face it, the last 2 years a lot of people went through some big changes,
Oh yeah.
right? A lot of people had to leave their jobs or got let go from their jobs, and they found themselves, a lot of them creators, found themselves in a whole new world and wondering what the heck they're going to do. And
Yeah.
so I want to ask you, like, how hard was that transition from corporate America to full-time entrepreneur?
Man, I'm not gonna lie. It was hard. It was really, really hard. And the hardest part for me was making the decision to actually do it.
Hmm.
It was something that I really had to search within myself and sit down and talk with my wife about and make sure
Mm-hmm.
it was the best move for me and my family because I worked at T-Mobile for 8 years. And before that, I always worked. So,
Mm-hmm.
I was used to working and getting a paycheck and, hey, paying my mortgage and paying my bills. And now I had to rely on myself going out there and actually making it happen. And
Mm-hmm.
it was tough. But after sitting down and talking, with the wife and going through kind of different scenarios and things like that, one thing that I learned is that, you know, it's never going to be the perfect time.
Right.
So let's take a chance on myself because I knew that my skills were there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think just my self doubt was really standing in my way. But once I was able to make that leap and actually reach out to people that I know, connections, because I've always been into music, so I've known people in creative spaces forever. It amazed me how many people were looking for these type of services for,
Mm.
especially for video services, because a lot of
Yeah.
people they don't know how to do video.
Right.
You might pull out their iPhone and it doesn't quite look how they want it to look. And there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people looking for these services. And once I was able to kind of, you know, take myself off the ledge and actually jump into it head first,
Mm.
it it definitely was the right choice for me. But in the beginning, yeah, it was tough.
Mm.
And there's still some tough days, you
Sure.
know what I'm saying? But it's all about preparation, planning, making sure that I stay up on my game and just making sure that I'm always in the community. I go
Yeah.
to different events, make sure
Mm-hmm.
that my face is seen. I'm
Yeah.
part of different networks out here. That's kind of one of the biggest things is networking
Yeah.
because a lot of people will think that, hey, my skills will take me far. And
Mm.
skills will take you far, but only so far.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get out there and actually network, and that's what's helping innovative production succeed.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think what you're speaking to, there's a lot of insightful things that you said, and one of those is, your talent can only get you so far. Like it can get you to the door,
Yeah.
but the relationships are what's going to actually open it up for you and get you a seat at the table.
Yes,
And so
sir.
we got to be mindful of that. That man, you might have the most phenomenal skills in the world, but it's going to take relational skills as well. And so those are things that we got to work on as well. If you haven't quite dialed those in yet, that's definitely something to put on the radar. Is, hey, how can I improve my relational game as well? And
Yeah.
so I'm just going to put this as a random plug that just came into my mind here. I think I have it. Yeah, there's a couple books I got here.
Okay.
The Greatest Salesman in the World by Og Mandino, if you've never heard of that, or How to Win Friends and Influence People. Those are two books that really just get you thinking about, like, okay, how do I interact with people, right?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes if you're in the job space for so long, as you mentioned, you get into this routine that it's just a monotonous routine where you know the people you work with, you know the familiarity of it all, and
Yeah.
it gets you into a space where it almost dampens some of the other skills that maybe you
Yeah.
had before or never allowed you to foster those skills that you needed in this particular arena, which is much different.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to touch base on too of what you said, and you kind of used them interchangeably, and I think we do this quite often. I've done it too, and that's choices versus decisions.
Hmm.
And a choice implies that you have a handful of things to choose from, right?
Yeah.
But a decision is you're cutting yourself off from any other option but the option that you're deciding for. And when I hear you speak about what you say, and when you made that leap and that jump, you decided that, hey, I'm going to do this right? I'm going to cut myself from the option that it's not going to happen. I'm going to go put in the work. I'm going to go make the connections. I'm going to go network. I'm going to go put my face out and really put myself in a position where people want to do business with me, or at least consider doing business with me.
One thing that I don't think a lot of people realize is how much customer service goes into running your own business. You
Yeah.
know, that networking piece and what you were talking about, but I don't think a lot of people realize that. T-Mobile actually did help me in the position that I was in. It did help me with some of that, knowing how to deal with different people in different positions. So how to talk to the president, how to talk to a director, and things like that. So that definitely helped me. But I think that's what a lot of people need to make sure that they have honed in, like you said, is those customer service type skills, how to talk to people, how to be around people, how to relate to people, and things like that.
Yeah, no, that's good. I think you hit the powerful two-hit combo, and that's the skills with the relational skills,
Yeah.
right? Like the tangible skills of the creative skill set, coupled with the relational skills will put you in a position that really sets you apart and makes people notice.
Yeah, absolutely. Because people, they want to work with somebody that they can relate to, that they can trust, that's dependable, and you got to make sure that you're all that. Because there's a lot of people that do what I do. So how do I set myself apart?
Yeah.
It's communication, it's keeping my word, it's delivering a good product, it's being on time. That's how innovative production sets itself apart,
Yeah.
from the pack.
Wow, that's great. So I'm guessing I was gonna ask you what are some of the biggest lessons you've learned from jumping headfirst into the creative space, but it sounds like these are some of the lessons you picked up along the way.
These are definitely some of the lessons, man. And I think, kind of going back to what we were talking about, I think one of the biggest lessons is realizing that it's never going to be the people look for, hey, this is just not the right time. This is happening or this is happening. It's never going to be the exact right time. So if you're waiting for that, or if you're waiting for, hey, I don't think I know enough, I think I need to get a little bit more knowledge.
Yeah.
You don't. Just
Yeah.
jump in there. You know what I'm saying? That's what you got to do. And that's what I had to learn. That's I think the biggest lesson that I learned is, hey, I'm my own biggest critic. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I'm like, no, this ain't perfect enough. And my wife even tells me that. She's like, you're a perfectionist, which I love. But one thing I realize is things don't got to be 100% perfect. I just got to get it out there, and I just got to keep going, and I'm going to get better, and I'm going to get better.
Yeah.
So
That's
I
wonderful.
think that's the biggest lesson that I learned. It's never going to be the exact right time. No, I don't know everything, but I know enough, and I got to be able to, believe in myself that I can make it happen. So
Yeah. Yeah, and I think to your point about being our own worst critic, like we all have these abilities and skills that somebody else doesn't have, that nobody else has. It's how you implement them and execute that to solve a problem for somebody. And so that makes me think of, some of the problems that you may have been able to solve with the customers that you're interacting with, because somebody might have an idea of them needing video for some type of product or service that they offer, but they don't know why, or they don't know how to put it into place. And I'm guessing in the process of you interacting with these customers, you've helped them solve some problems that they may have had with their business. Can you share an example or share of what you've learned about problem solving for some of your clients?
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of speaking to your point, when a client approaches me, they have kind of like this overarching vision, this high level vision of what they want. It's part of my job to kind of get granular and make them see benefits of things that they may not think that they need, or hey, we don't necessarily need this part. So I actually have a shoot tomorrow. I'm shooting a commercial tomorrow for a cleaning company out here. And what I like to do when I get clients is, hey, let's meet, let's kind of talk about your vision, your goals, and then we storyboard it, come up with all kind of B-roll shots and things like that. But while we're talking through, what are these shots going to look like, I'm helping to basically kind of like reel them in, I guess, and let them see, hey, this is what I think that we should do,
Yeah.
versus what you think you may need. You may not need all of this. You know what I'm saying? So just being able to do that has really helped my business grow, and it helps get me kind of repeat clients as well, because they like that professionalism.
Yeah.
Hey, these are the shots that I think we should get. We should get this shot A, shot B, shot C, and they're like, oh, I didn't think about that. Thank you for kind of walking me through this process. And then, of course, we're helping them solve for how do they reach a wider audience. Content is king, and video is king of the content to me. When I am looking for a business or looking up a business, if they have a video and I can actually see, hey, this is what they do, or put a face to the business, I'm more inclined to call that business. So I think video really helps solve a problem of how do I reach the customers that I want to reach, like my business wants to reach, and how do I expand that customer base? And video is it.
You're right. Video is not slowing down anytime soon.
No,
the short form content is just blowing up out of proportion, right? Like just out into the stratosphere. Long form content is not going anywhere either. And we see that there's so many avenues for brands to be able to utilize video to highlight what they do, to tell the story of what they do, and to do it with an audience that they previously wouldn't have had reach to. And so I want to jump into some of the stats and some of the history. And I kind of just glossed over it a little bit and saying that this is the creator economy that we're talking about. Is it dead, right? Asking, is it dead, or is it going to be even bigger in 2023? And the quick answer to that, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, is that it is not dead, right? No. Like it's thriving, and it's only getting bigger. And so for those of you that are in the content creation space, we hope that you will be getting encouraged by what we're speaking about today, and we're still getting into it, and be inspired to continue moving forward and continue hammering away, chiseling away, because there is a huge opportunity in this space.
What's crazy? So when I worked for T-Mobile, we would do these videos. When we introduced video, just throwing out a number, there's about 600 people that worked in this building. You send out an email, you see 5 to 10% open this email. Right. So you're talking about out of 600 people, 5 to 10% is 30 to 60 people.
Yeah.
Once we started actually incorporating the message into a video and putting it out, we'd put it on our local Facebook page, and that video would immediately get 300 views. So you're going from reaching 30 people to reaching 300 people. And that's the power of video, man.
Yeah.
That's the power that you can have.
Yeah.
Reaching an audience when you actually create content and put it out there in a way that people want to receive it.
And I believe part of that is because it's personal. Like you being able to see a person's face or hear their voice, and you can see their mannerisms, you see the facial gestures that they make, etc. It paints a different story than just text written down and people glossing that over, because most people are like, did they even write it? For one.
Absolutely. Yeah, we know a little bit about that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
But in regards to the creator economy, for those that maybe don't understand completely what we're talking about here, I want to draw you back a few years if you could, and if you remember the LimeWire, when LimeWire came out, remember that? Napster.
You showing your age a little bit.
Yeah, I know. I just love it right here too.
You got a little bit, yeah. You see it.
Right, I know. It's coming every day. I'm getting a little bit more. But if you remember some of these early businesses that came out, such as a LimeWire that people were able to go and download content from, right, and they're hacking into getting music and getting movies, etc. And you had the Barnes and Noble at the time, right, the big publishers at the time. These big record labels that were signing these massive amounts of artists to them, and anybody that could get their product in front of them and get it past the gatekeeper, right, to get it in front of an executive or an A&R at the time, was a huge deal. And all of a sudden you see things started to shift a little bit, right? When social started hitting the equation, even MySpace for that matter, right, even though it's gone. But you started seeing these opportunities for people to start getting their content out in front of people without the middleman in place.
Yeah.
And that was a huge game changer when you started seeing that happening. So when we started seeing this shift from these major gatekeepers that you had to go to in order to get a book published, in order to get your music in front of people, right? In order to get any kind of distribution at all. And all of a sudden you see the economy shifting where now a creator, somebody that makes something, can get their content in front of an audience without having to go through the traditional, right? We've seen this whole new economy be created, which is what we dub the creator economy, right? And so the last couple of years, since 2020, with the world going to hell in a handbasket for a short period of time, we've seen the creator economy just go through a massive explosion. And so now we're living in a world where 68% of people right now, the online experience, it starts with an initial search query, right, with the internet. And it shows you how big it is that people are going for information, going for any kind of backing with research that they're looking into, right? Entertainment, etc., education. It's all going online. I want to show you this particular history line, if you would. And I'm not going to go through it all right now, but it'll give you kind of a brief synopsis of what the last decade or 2 decades have been from the creator economy becoming what it is today. And as you can see, it's gone through some massive changes, right? There's been a lot that's taken place in a short period of time. And so I thought that was a pretty cool stat to look at. A large percentage of brands are needing to use content to generate leads. And as a matter of fact, some stats I'm going to give you for those that want to nerd out on this kind of stuff. 79% of brands actually use content to generate leads. 70% of consumers bought a product after seeing a video about it on YouTube. Wow, 70%. That's huge. And 86% of marketers drive traffic to sites with video content. Speaking of why video is king right now.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
So, whether it's visual, written, graphic, audio, etc., like brands use media as a way to interact and engage with their people. And those that do it the best, those that do it consistently, they seem to be winning. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. And you hit it right on the head when you said consistently. But yeah, consistency is the key, man, because the last thing you want to do is start to put out content, start to grow your audience, and then take a month off or take 2 months off, because your audience, they get used to that content coming out on a weekly basis.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something that I try to instill in my clients as well, that approach me about, hey, I want to start a YouTube channel, or I want to get this content out. Okay, you got to make sure you're consistent with it, and I can help you do that, but you have to make sure that you're putting in that effort to remain consistent. I have a daughter that's 21, and she told me something that I found super fascinating. She told me that if she's looking for a restaurant, she'll go to TikTok for Google. It just made me realize, like you said, like how big this stuff is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's crazy. I never would think to go to TikTok to look for a restaurant,
Wow.
But
yeah.
This younger generation is like that. They feed off of Instagram and TikTok and things like that.
That aligns with exactly what I was going to share, which is 80% of mobile data traffic comes from TikTok, IG, Reels, and YouTube Shorts. 80%.
That's crazy, man.
Which shows you that people are going to this particular source for their information. And they prefer that, right? They prefer it in video format versus text, right? They prefer something highly visual and highly engaging, which also ties in with another crazy statistic that the average user consumes upwards of 19 hours of video per day.
I believe it. Literally, you can ask my wife, man. I literally watch YouTube the majority of the day. Even if I have the TV on, I'm on my phone watching YouTube, and the TV is just background noise. And it's crazy, man.
Wow.
My kids think I'm old because I still Google. Yeah, bro. They think I'm
But
old.
think about that. Think about that shift that's taking place. What you just said with the TV is just background noise now. It's no longer crazy to have a content creation plan and have plans for making videos and having social, etc. Like that used to be crazy. Even, I'd say 5 years ago, when in corporate America, some people pushed back on the idea of having content plans for social. And now you see what you just said right now, where TV is just background noise. So I see like the internet and social is becoming what TV was 30, 50 years ago. That is what the internet is becoming and will be in the next 10, 15, 20 years from now. The physical goods that you might be able to piece together in this space is one thing, but the digital side of it is a whole nother thing. And I wanted to share this with viewers to get a little bit of some insight behind ways that people are actually creating revenue streams for themselves. So as you see, the lion's share of revenue sources for surveyed creators in this particular study through Marketing Hub, a large percent of it is brand deals, right? So it's companies that are looking for people who have an audience. And folks, this isn't for just the people that are celebrities garnering millions of followers or hundreds of thousands of followers, right? Some of these are micro influencers. Some of these are very niche audiences that a brand is just looking to get in front of. And sometimes they prefer actually the smaller audiences because of the engagement rate behind it and the genuineness of the content that they build. But 77% of it comes in the form of brand deals, of how these content creators are actually making revenue. And then you see there's ad revenue that's in there, affiliate marketing, some of them through developing courses and subscriptions, etc., continuity programs. So there's a diverse way of being able to establish revenue through content creation in the creator economy. So it's not just a one-trick pony is what I'm getting at. There's many ways to do it. And so podcasting is one of the other things that I want to just drop a little bit of a nugget on here as well, because we haven't even seen that as its tipping point just yet. Podcasting is another form of content that people are consuming in rapid fire, and we're talking upwards to the tune of 15 billion hours of podcasts in 2021 that were consumed. Man. Yeah, 15 billion hours. Crazy, right? And now you got players like Clubhouse, Twitter Spaces, Discord, places like that are giving listeners an arena and a way to tune into audiences or to tune into creators. And it's just showcasing that, man, the playing field is huge for a company that wants to really get their brand in front of people. Are they leveraging creatives, like yourself, who can come in, understand the idea behind it, and more than just the idea, they understand the art that comes with creating a piece of content that represents a brand.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. And I see, just even here locally, here in Colorado Springs, a lot of people that I'm involved with that's what they're focusing on is podcasts and bringing podcasts to the city and even beyond the city. But yeah, podcast is, I think, just scratching the surface, man. I feel like talking to my son, he tells me about so many different podcasts and platforms and things that I've never even heard of as a creator. And I'm like, man, it's tapping into the youth and seeing what they're doing, man. You'll learn a lot. So
we're in an airport just recently, a couple of days ago, and we were ordering, a hamburger from, can't even remember what it was, like a smash burger or something like that. And we were ordering from the digital menu, didn't even interact with the person.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this interaction with food and whatnot. And the conversation came up of like how that's just the norm for how we do stuff, right? And it wasn't that way 15, 20 years ago, like where we just had access to go push a button and all of a sudden you do it. But we live in a very, very different world today than what we did 20 years ago. And so are you keeping up to date with what exactly is taking place right in front of us? Because the world has shifted dramatically. And we're in a highly visual world, a highly competitive world, that unless you're able to get the content in front of people in a way that makes them want to not just consume it, but continue to come back for more, then you're going to be on the struggle bus. And we ain't trying to be on the struggle bus. We're trying to get beyond that.
And then creating that content, you got to learn, the content has to be, enthusiastic, and you got to make sure that people are engaging with it. So, that's one way to set yourself apart, because you got to grab people's attention like immediately. You can't be 2 minutes into the video before you get to the point. So that's something you got to learn.
Exactly. And that's for another video. I'm actually going to be sharing another video. I'm going to be creating another video where it's going to be talking about content supremacy. And it's going to teach you some tips on how to get your content game up and how to get yourself in a space where the quality of your content is actually mirroring up with what exactly that you're after. And so be on the lookout for that. If you like what you're listening to and seeing, I invite you to please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and Gordie Tamayo, in case you didn't know what it is, handle's right there. Yeah, moving to some jams, right?
Groovy. Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah. That's right. Well, hey, Thomas, thank you so much, bro, for jumping on here and joining us. Appreciate you sharing your insight. Appreciate you getting on here and spending some time with us today. And for those of you, whether or not you're a content creator, we hope the information was educational for you. We hope it inspired you and that it motivates you to go out there and actually make your own change in this world today as well. Until next time, we'll catch you later.